Will the virtuous Sangha, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung đến đại đức tặng tình, phi thứ pháp vui cập nhật thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Saranto Suchedo Ye La Hudi San Miao San Puto Xie. Nam mô Tát Tát Tha Tô Ya Đa Ya La Ha Le Tam Miao Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come once true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa, bai jian wan jie nan zao yu, 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Qingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left-Home people, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư, Hòa thượng Kiến Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 2nd of October 2021. We are gathered here to continue discussing the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra, written by Great Master Qingliang. We're discussing law number 1, causes and conditions for this teaching to be taught. We're on slide 264. Text says 7 cause and condition. In order to speak of supreme conduct in wishing to ascend to the wonderful position, if one fails to practice, one does not rank. Okay, 265 commentary. The 7th cause and condition for the sutra to be bestowed by the Buddha on the bodhisattvas or future bodhisattvas is to talk about the supreme conduct. Okay, this is by far the most important practice in one's life. Okay, and if you want to ascend, reach the wonderful position. Wonderful position refers to the position of the Buddha. This is the highest attainment possible. Okay, highest attainment possible requires highest type of conduct, type of behavior. Okay, and you must practice. Okay, If you don't practice, you cannot get there. Yes, there's a question from number 8.
Cordelia is asking, Master, in the Earth Door Bodhisattva Sutra, you mentioned about a mantra that helped us memorize the Flower Adornment Sutra. Can you please tell me what that mantra is?
The mantra that helped memorize the Flower Adornment Sutra, oh my God, that's a long time ago. How could I remember? Did I tell to anyone? Anyone of you remembers? Huh? Okay, I need to go back to my notes, and I have to give you the answer later. Okay, anything else? Good Lord, that's like 10 years ago. How can I remember? Okay, so the point being that we need to do something in order to achieve these positions, these achievements. And this is fundamental to Mahayana, to Flower Adornment Sutra, to the teaching, is that Buddhist teaching is not about knowledge. Buddhist teaching is about whatever it takes to get you to practice in order to get there. So it's about teaching you the proper practice to get there. The Buddha position here refers to the ultimate attainment. However, along the way, there are very significant attainment milestones that you can attain, you can achieve, and therefore, the point here is that the Flower Adornment Sutra was spoken to encourage the bodhisattva practice. And these bodhisattvas, they love to practice because they get so much out of the practice. And so does everyone. Anyone who endures these practices, there's a hardship you need to undergo. There's some serious challenges that you have to face. You will definitely fail repeatedly. No two ways about it. No one succeeds the first time. No one. Okay, because that's the nature of the challenge. It's very, very difficult. These practices are very challenging, very difficult, and very not easy. They're not easy to master. That's why it takes time. You know, for example, you hear of Shakyamuni Buddha's practice of endurance, of patience. He became a patience immortal. He just to practice in patience, the Dharma door patience, paramita of patience, and he had to go through many lifetimes in order to perfect it. Okay, so that's why you fail repeatedly, and that's the nature of the beast. Okay, failure in itself is actually an achievement if you don't quit. Okay, worldly people, they laud. Okay, they praise success, and they rank you by success. Okay, but what is not told is the many failures these gold medals winners have to go through, to endure in order to get on to that podium. Okay. All right. 266. Therefore, the superior person does not fear having no position, but fears he himself. I keep going. Okay, I keep going, even though I can't see anything. I don't hear anything and can't see anything. I must be enlightened already. 266. Therefore, the superior person does not fear having no position, but he fears himself does not stand. Okay, commentary. The superior person here actually, I don't like this translation, superior person. This is the standard translation for the Junzi. Junzi here could be translated as superior person, has a connotation of superior person. But if you translate it as superior person, you're missing out on one of the important teaching of Confucius. Okay, what teaching? The better translation would be the noble person. Junzi here refers to nobility, to me, not superior. I don't know if Chinese people can help us out. Okay. Because I really struggle with the concept of Junzi being translated as superior person. I did it in the past myself, but as I've been thinking more and more about the translation, what is referring to is a noble person. What is the difference between a superior and a noble person? Can someone help me out? Of course, number 5. You should give the same number so that I don't get confused morning and afternoon. Just kidding. It's an attachment somewhere. Go ahead, 5.
Well, I think the idea of superior means that you're comparing yourself to somebody else who's inferior, so you still have the superiority and the inferiority.
Okay. And what about noble?
Noble is kind of like you kind of just it's more personal. I feel like you abide by values in a way.
Okay. Very good. Number 8.
Jane said Junzi is not necessarily noble.
It's not necessarily noble. It has to be superior. Okay, we have a Chinese person who disagrees with Master. Anyone else? That's it. You only have one Chinese person's opinion versus mine opinion, so we have 50-50.
And speaker. Go ahead.
Oh, one Chinese person's opinion. Yeah, the Junzi just means it means maybe just almost like the equivalent to gentleman in the old sense of the English, maybe the Victorian time gentleman.
Gentlemen?
I finished.
Okay. What about Qun Wang?
Qun and a Wang, they're two things. And yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's stick with superior person right now. I just don't like the concept of superior. Okay, because as was commented, superior here is to contrast with someone who's inferior. Okay, and Chun to me, Chunzu here to me carries more the connotation, and you Chinese people have to help me out here, please. Chunzu to me, the concept here is you carry yourself. Okay, it's not about comparing yourself with others who are inferior than you. It's comparing you with your inferior and baser instincts. I think this is what Confucius is trying to teach. If he doesn't, that's what I want to teach. Number 8.
Ru Chang is saying Junzi is a noble person, a gentleman, as in noble being with virtue and conduct, not necessarily related to loyal, like gentleman in French culture has virtue or moral conduct. It's like the code of conduct for a noble person, gentleman in warrior time. Jane agrees with her. Junzi is a person with proper conduct, morality. I agree with Master, is not a superior person.
Oh, thank you. That helps. Because when I disagree with the Chinese translator, I do it with trepidation. I fear that I'm exposing my vulnerability because I don't understand Chinese. I'm just looking at the content of the teaching. I said, no, this is not superior person. This is not. He doesn't refer to the superior person. He refers to a person who feels himself to be superior. Okay? But not necessarily known by others. You understand that concept? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they look at themselves as superior when no one knows they are superior. So they carry themselves as a superior person while no one knows a superior person. Okay? So this is a standard much higher than that they submit themselves to, they compare themselves to, versus the outside perception. Okay? For example, my master, Master YongHua, is a Chunzi. Because to me, no one can understand, can appreciate who he is, what he really does for us. No one. Myself included. So he's a Chunzi to me. Okay? He's not a superior person. He's short. He's very short. So, he's inferior in that aspect already. All right? And if you look at him, a lot of these non-Buddhists, they say, this your master, he is so powerful, has so much wisdom. How come he died in such a miserable fashion? How come he died so sick and he could not control himself? My answer is, that's why he's a Junzi. Okay? Because your standards is not the same as his. Yes, go ahead, number 2. Thank you.
Master, there's a phrase they called it, 窈窕淑女，君子好逑. Is this that 君子?
I don't know that Chinese part. I can't get your Chinese.
In things they hear, they say 窈窕淑女，君子好逑.
Okay, I don't understand. I definitely don't understand that Chinese part.
The Vietnamese is yểu điệu thục nữ, quân tử. Yểu điệu thục nữ, quân tử hảo cầu. Is it quân tử that same meaning of quân tử?
Yeah, change is going to, yeah, absolutely.
Instead, would it be better to use 大丈夫 instead?
Yeah, the great man. So, 大丈夫 here it talks about the superior man. There's a man there. The noble here is that I'm above men. I'm not a man. I'm a noble person. I have my noble blood. Okay? You understand? The nobility, you look at the princes, the kings, and the queens, they're royalty. They're noble. They have noble blood in them. They're not superior. They're noble. There's a big difference. Okay? Yes, 8.
Xian An said, it's like a virtuous and moral person. It's a concept from Confucius. It's not a sage, but at least lives with moral and virtue standards. In Korea, it's a word we all learn since we are little.
Which word?
君子.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a form for Asians. I'm surprised that Jane disagrees with me. Jane feels a superior person. Actually, the Chunzu that I learned from Vietnam, that thing there, that here has a superior concept, but also more importantly, quite often the Vietnamese drop it, is that your nobility, okay? Because most of us are not noble, from noble blood. Yes, number 8.
Jane agrees with Ru Chang and Xian An. She said, Master's command of Chinese is superb.
Oh, thank you. Oh, ching. Okay, so thank you. So I'm glad we agree to this. I think we should change the translation to the noble person. Okay, noble at heart. Not the noble here does not mean nobility in the worldly sense. This is noble at heart. His heart of this person is really, really noble, really superior to the average person. That's what this is referring to. Okay? So this noble person does not fear of having no position. He does not fear not to be recognized, not to be provided with power, okay, influence. This noble person only fears that he does not stand, okay? Having no place to stand. There's no place where he could stand to be worthy of his noble aspirations. Yes, number 5.
When he says he fears himself, he does not stand, does that mean the only thing he's scared of is that he breaks his virtues and his good conduct to himself?
No, he's worried about 2 things. He's worried that he failed to live up to his own expectations. These noble people, they have their own expectations. Unfortunately, the nobility you met out there, you only see them as being haughty, being self-serving, and so forth. No, the noble here we're talking about is that they have very high expectations of themselves. They have much higher expectations of themselves than anyone else, and any of us who are not noble like them. Yes, 8.
Xian An, I'm not sure if it's a comment or a question. She said, it's like a man who can give away his own rice when he and his family is starving, with a question mark.
Yeah, a man can do that, but don't have to be noble in order to do that. You can be simply compassionate and kind. You can do that. You don't need to be noble. Yes, 8.
Ru Chang, I guess it's Apple. She's saying 君子有成人之美. It's not the same as 苗条淑女君子好逑. That 君子 means a man.
Okay. We have to take the Chinese at that. No, I have to look at the Chinese characters again and find out. So send me those Chinese characters and I will comment at them later. Okay. My Chinese clearly is not that good. That's why you deviate from the written text. I have no clue what you're talking about. Okay, and number two, let me finish. What do noble people fear? Number one, again, the fear of falling short of their own expectations, meaning the expectations are extremely high of themselves. Okay, that's how you can tell immediately these people that have a noble mind, noble soul, is that they expect a lot of themselves. Okay? Not only in terms of success, whatever, but their standards are so high, especially we're talking about standards of virtues. And if you're talking about expectation yourselves, we're not like the people of the world where they expect to be famous, they expect to be rich, they expect to be powerful. These people expect to do lofty things. That's why they're noble. They have very lofty aspirations. And they're afraid they will fall short of those aspirations. Okay? It's very important to dare have lofty aspirations, folks. And that's why they're called noble, because they dare subscribe to lofty aspirations. Okay? We're not talking about, now you must carry yourself 24 hours a day like that. No, we're talking about there's a goal there, there's a measurement for standards, and their standards are so high, so lofty. All right? That's the fear. The fear is they fall short of their own aspirations, own lofty aspirations. They really have lofty aspiration. That's why they're noble. They don't call themselves lofty people. They call themselves noble people, because lofty is self-serving. All right? So yes, they're afraid to fall short of their own standards. They very lofty standards. Okay? Number two, what are they afraid of? They're afraid of not being able to meet the sage's standards. Because you see, number one is that their own aspirations, okay, they set for themselves are very, very lofty. Number two, also aspiration, the standards set by the sages, by people far superior to them. I know most of you are only thinking, oh my God, I wish I could do this, I could do that. It's only about your standards. These people have wisdom. That's why they say that, yeah, I can do that. Maybe I can reach my own lofty aspirations, okay, because that's what I expect of myself. However, there are people who can see me better, who understand me better. And they say, yeah, you're doing okay, but you can be better. You understand? So it's both driven by both inside and outside. Inside is their own lofty aspirations. Outside is from the people who are wiser than them. They say, you can do better. And they have that fear. They said, yes, I may be able to do well for myself, meet my own aspirations, but I still fall short of, in a bigger picture of things. I have no place to stand in the big picture, in the big hierarchy of the world. You see, for us, worldly people, we only see ourselves in this world. whether you're Chinese, you see yourself, compare yourself to President Xi Jinping, and so forth. Here we compare ourselves to President Biden and so forth. So you have all these worldly standards, okay? But they are regional, if you will. They're small. What you don't realize is that in the Flower Adornment Sutra, you are being exposed to a concept called the universe, the Dharma realm. In that Dharma realm, there's hierarchy as well. And you have no idea what the Dharma realm is. Okay? But the people wisdom, like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they understand what it is. Okay? And that in that world, there's clear hierarchies as well, like in our worldly world. There are also positions, okay? They also platforms, okay, where that's where you're gauged in an assembly like this, okay? These people with hierarchies have different seating positions. It's not the same. The lower level has to be outside. They cannot be close at all. All right? But at least they have a place to stand in this assembly. And that's status in itself. Just like in our world, our Sangha world, we have a certain position from our seniority of the Dharma age. All right? 268. So this we're referring to the Confucius Analects, okay, where he says, and after this, the Confucius also further says on 268, he does not fear not being known, but seeks to be one who could be known. Okay, meaning that he does not fear of not being known, refers to the fact that he's not worried about being recognized. But what he seeks to be one who could be known, meaning that he's known enough by the worthies. There's small people, you know among the small people versus being known among the noble. If you like to be known among the small people, okay, that's what I call being petty. And if you want to be known among the upper echelon, that's what I call noble. I don't call it superior. All right? And I think that's what Confucius is talking about. Yeah. And I apologize if I am too liberal in my interpretation of Confucius' teaching. All right, 269. Conduct is also of two kinds. One, the sudden accomplishment of all conducts, because one conduct is all conducts.
"行义二种，义敦诚诸恨，一恨一切，一行一切行。"
270. Conduct is of two kinds. This superior conduct has two kinds, two types. One is certain accomplishment of all conducts, because one conduct is all conducts. The certain accomplishment here is the crowning result, the end result of all the conducts. Okay. Again, I warn you that part of this exercise here of our learning of Flower Adornment Sutra here is to be exposed to these transcendental wisdom. Okay, if you understand, good. You don't understand, it will be the case for most of the teaching, and that's still excellent because it's not meant for you to understand. Okay? Either you get it or you don't. So you don't, it's okay. And so don't be discouraged. That's part of the seeding, the part of planting the seeds, so that we will reap the harvest later when the conditions are ripe. You don't plant the seeds, you will not get the harvest. Okay? So these are one of the best seeds you can ever plant in terms of your practice. 271, the 10 dwellings chapter says, well, the one is just the many are just the one, and so forth.
"故十住品云：一即是多，多即一等。"
Okay, 272, and the Venerable Jingliang cited the 10 dwellings chapter. These 10 dwellings here are it says, chapter here says, the one is just the many, and the many is just the one, meaning that one can be transposed or transformed into the many. One can generate many, and many can return to the one. Okay, so one is not different from the many. The many are no different from one either. Okay, so the one does not obstruct the many does not obstruct the one. 273. The chapter of the conduct of universal worthy says, because one is cut off, all are cut off, and so forth.
普贤恨品说：一断一切断等故。
Okay, so in that chapter of the conduct of universal worthy, we learn that when one is cut off, all is cut off. Okay, in this particular chapter, when he's talk about cutting off, it's a cutting off the afflictions. You're severing the deviancy. You're cutting off your ignorance. Okay. So when one is cut off, everything is cut off. What it's referring to is certain teaching. The Hinayana people, they only can see one, and they focus on that. Okay? The Mahayana people are a lot smarter, a lot wiser. They don't focus on the individual all the time. Eventually, they figure out how to cut off the entire bowl of wax. Okay? It's like the analogy is like you only worry about conquering one individual. You try to, let's say, out-wrestle one person. Okay? defeat one person, whereas here you conquer, you vanquish the entire class, entire group, like genocide. Okay? So that's why when you kill the whole race, then everything is gone. Okay? Instead of worrying about killing one person at a time. And this is a principle of perfect fusion. All right, 275. 2. The progressive accomplishment of all conducts is the successive gradations.
2. 变成诸恨，此即恨部。
Okay, the second type is the progression. The first one is sudden. The second type is gradual. Okay, or successive, or progressive. Okay, and this is the sudden teaching versus or the gradual teaching. The sudden enlightenment, the sudden accomplishment versus gradual enlightenment or gradual achievement. Okay? So this is documented. These types of teachings, these types of attainments are documented hereforth. 277. It means the merit and virtue of the substance and the characteristics of one's own great thought for Bodhi, up to and including the conducts within equal enlightenment.
为自大菩提心体相功德，乃至等觉中恨。
Okay, 278. What is this talking about? This is talking about when you first bring forth the Bodhi mind. When you do that, your substance gives rise to the merit and virtue of marks of substance, leading to realizing Buddhahood. And therefore, this Bodhi mind here includes maintaining the straight mind, the profound mind, and compassionate mind. Okay? This Bodhi mind here refers to the three aspects of a mind, of enlightenment. If you're enlightened, your mind is straight. Enlightened person's mind is profound. Mind is profound, and the enlightenment person's mind is also compassionate. Okay, so these are the three aspects of enlightenment of the enlightenment. So when you become enlightened, you are like that. Okay, enlightened person is always straightforward. Is always compassionate. Is always profound. So that's why if you aspire for enlightenment, you have to be straight. Stop messing around. Trying to outsmart someone is stupid because you're not straight. Okay? Straight mind here is, what is a straight mind? Yes, 5.
You follow the precepts and you keep good conducts and you don't practice a deviant way.
Okay, anyone else? What's a straight mind? Yes, 1.
Thank you, Master. A straight mind to me is one that relaxes into the Bodhi mind, is very simple, and doesn't arise deviant mindsets.
Straight mind is just what it is, straight. It's not crooked. It doesn't beat around the bush. It's just straight. Let's just spit it out. Okay? There's no thinking. The reason your mind is not straight is because you think. Any problems with that? It's because you think, that's why your mind cannot be straight. You have a problem with that? Yes, number one?
Thank you, Master. I want to share something a little about that. You've recently given me a lot of advice to stop thinking. And one thing I've been meditating on is the mind is like the clear blue sky, and the clouds are like thoughts that obscure it. And I've been trying to clear the clouds of clarity. Every time I think I can figure it out, I try to clear that as a possibility, and it's been helping me a lot.
Okay. Still, his approach is very intellectual. It's hard to explain to people who insist on understanding. Okay? My final advice to you, since everything else fails, is follow instructions. You can think all you want, it doesn't matter. That's your natural reflex response, is to think, to rationalize, because we are all rational people. What you don't realize is that you're more rational when you stop thinking. So that's why, until then, it's okay to think, it's okay to rationalize, but it's just a habit energy. Don't dwell on that, because it's eventually, when you reach a level where you stop thinking, then why do you have to think now? Why does it have to make sense to you now? You see, when you reach the state of a straight mind, you don't think anymore. You just spit it out. That's tremendous. That's wisdom right there. Okay, you're just like a mirror. Whatever shows up in front of you, we reflect it right back. That's it. No processing, nothing whatsoever. It's extremely scary. Whatever they throw at you, it comes right back at them. Because if you think about it, if they throw a punch at you and you have to process it, okay, then the reaction is not as strong as you let it bounce right back off you. Okay, so this straight mind here is the ability to reflect whatever is out there. Does it make sense to you? It's just like a mirror. Okay, what is it? Oh, it's a bird. Oh, it's a snake. Oh, it's a disgusting person. Oh, it's a crook. Oh, it's a demon. No judgment whatsoever. All right? It's a 100% reflection. That's it. No processing, no filtering. All right? Number 2, a profound mind. What is a profound mind? Yes, 5.
I think the profound mind would probably be the mind of wisdom and the mind of spiritual penetrations, and wisdom mostly.
Wisdom mostly is profound mind, but can't we wisdom? Why does it have to be profound? Why does wisdom have to be profound? Yes. Why?
It's different from the straight mind and the compassionate mind, because the profound mind is, it is kind of straight, but I think it's probably belongs in a different category, because it's not just direct like the straight mind is. It's more like broader. It's more broad, and it's more kind of like out there, versus the straight mind is just very direct.
Okay, and we're trying to verbalize, we're trying to define and explain what these concepts are, which cannot be found in a Chinese text. Yes, what is a profound mind? Anyone else? Profound here, what is the concept of profound? Why is it profound? Profound is because the word profound should invoke in your mind the ocean, how deep it is. Yes? You think from a distance, is that deep? And you get close, you find out actually it's a lot deeper than you imagine. Yes? So, what is that referring to? Profound here has a concept of layers. This is so clearly spelled out in the Flower Adornment Sutra. Flower Adornment Sutra has layers upon layers upon layers of infinite number of layers of realities, if you will. Go ahead, 8.
Ruzhang said, Junzi also should have the straight mind quality. Buddhist Daniel said, profound sees all the layers of truth. Diego said, it has to be straight and profound, so when those energies bounce back at people, they bounce as wisdom and not as stupidity.
Okay. First of all, Junzi has no concept of straight mind at all. Okay. You can be lofty, but you don't need to be straightforward. Because sometimes, for these lofty people, they need to beat around the bush to disguise themselves. Okay? To disguise their standards. All right. So, this profound here has two concepts of layers. Okay? What you are able to understand right now is only at this layer. But actually, for your information, there's another plane, another layer, if you will, a plane, if you will, where it's also true that you don't know about. So far, so good. And once you know these two layers, you penetrate these two layers, actually another layer of truth as well. Is that clear? So you have these layers of truth. The truth that the Christian talk about is good at one plane, one layer. Okay? The truth to talk about the 10 Commandments, very good. At the world layers, it's very, very good. Okay? For the Buddhists, actually, when you look at those 10 Commandments, actually is a deeper layer. The deeper layer is called 5 precepts. 5 precepts are actually the basis of the 10 Commandments. All right? So you have layers upon layers of truths. So people who are introduced to spirituality, nothing wrong with introducing them to Christianity, to Taoism, to Mormonism, whatever, because it's something that can grasp people like certain people who need to understand they can grasp it and say, I like this. For me personally, when I first exposed to Mahayana, I was confused like hell. So I didn't like it. So I started asking questions. I asked around. I asked my masters, Master Shenhua's disciples, I said, what does it mean? What is Mahayana? What does that mean? And no one cared to explain to me. Okay, so what did I do? I went to Hinayana. I said, I don't understand Mahayana. I admit I don't understand Mahayana, and no one can help me understand Mahayana. So what else does Buddhism have to offer? So I went to Hinayana. I read a lot of Hinayana texts in English, in Vietnamese. And I said, I can understand this. Yes, it makes sense to me. Intellectually, it makes sense why I should be doing these things. Okay, these great benefits, these superior qualities, these noble qualities. Yes, I can identify with that. That turns me on. Okay, but Mahayana, too vague. I don't get it. Why do I have to give? Why do I have to be patient? It's not logical to me. Why I have to keep on losing? In order to become enlightened, I need to lose. I cannot win. That is illogical to me. The Hinayana says, you can win. You do this, you will win. You'll be a superior person. Mahayana says, there's no superior person. There's no noble person. You lose. I didn't like it. You see? So the teaching, Buddha also had to start with the Hinayana layer. He says, you've been learning about Brahmanism, you've been learning about Hinduism and so forth. That's great. That's a good layer. But let me tell you about the Hinayana layer. It supersedes whatever all you learn. It's a deeper level than what you learn. And that's why Ajnata Kondinya, when he heard of that, he said, wow, that's it. That's it. The concept, I know everything, my wisdom has no concept, but guess does. That's how he became enlightened to the Hinayana layer. Okay? So now we're learning, as you learn more about Mahayana, you get to more and more Mahayana layers. You learn about Vaipulya layers, we learn about Prajna layers, you learn about lotus flower layers, you learn about flower adornment sutras and layers and so forth. So you have these layers upon layers of truths that you're able to penetrate. That's the penetration refers to the depth. Depth is penetration. You get deeper and deeper. You get into deeper layers of the truths that you can understand, that you can identify with. So far, so good. That's why it's called profound. Profound means that you can penetrate infinitely many layers. So that's why, again, I remind all of you, don't be so keen, don't demand yourself to understand, because all you can understand right now is one layer. What we're doing is to help you plant the seeds for you to penetrate all these layers. Don't stop at one layer right now, because when you demand to understand, you demand it to be logical, you're stopping yourself. You're confining yourself this layer alone. That's it. You cannot go further. You say, I'm the king. I'm the president. I am a hot shot here. Okay? So this profound here, okay, is the exhaustion of infinite layers. So it has a concept of layers and a concept of infinity. Try to understand that. Okay? What about compassionate mind? And by the way, no one ever explained it this way before. Okay? Today I'm just making it up. What about compassion? Why enlightened? Enlightened mind is a mind of compassion. Yes, number 5.
Because when you have wisdom, you realize that being compassionate and doing good things is infinitely better than doing nothing or doing bad things, because as you generate more good karma, you get blessings and you can move along even further, and you can also help other people move along farther and closer to realizing enlightenment.
Okay, 4 sentences, but very long sentences. Okay, yes. Anyone else? Yes, number 1. Why compassion?
In order to become or to enter the Bodhi mind, one has to cut the root of suffering. And in order to do that within oneself, requires a lot of destruction of the self. And once you're able to do that, you see how hard it was for you and the experience that you had. And then you see it within everybody else. And so you gain a level of compassion that allows you to wish upon them that they also can cut their root of suffering.
Very logical. Anyone else? Second chance, number 5.
Well, Master, I was thinking about this a lot. I was thinking about, so in the 6th Patriarch Sutra, he talks about there's no good, there's no evil, non-duality. So why would I ever want to even think about being compassionate and nice to people if it's all the same, right? When I was thinking about it, it's not really something I was doing, but I was considering it. But this kind of puts it into a really good, good categories. Like the straight mind would be kind of like just not non-thinking. The profound mind would be like the wisdom and the depth, and the compassionate mind would be the mind we have of goodness in our hearts to help people.
Okay. Anyone else in Korea? Why compassion? I don't think the Koreans have any compassion. That's why they all are quiet. See? I know it. What about San Jose? Do any of you have any compassion? None either. They're either sleeping or resting. Sung Wook says, Master covered the Koreans already, so I can be quiet. Yes, go ahead, Jewel Mountain Temple. Save the day for the Koreans. Why compassion? Can't hear you. Jewel Mountain Temple, we cannot hear you at all. I apologize. This is very challenging for us. It's a lot of equipment, a lot that we invested in, but we're still trying to figure out how to use all this fancy equipment. Try again, Korea. There you go. Now,
it's not discriminating mind.
it's not discriminating mind. Okay, what does it have to do with compassion? Are you compassionate? Is any Korean compassionate? I make it very personal now. It's a national tragedy. Is any of you compassionate? Okay, let me put it to you this way. See if it makes sense to you. You're enlightened, right? You're enlightened. Put yourself, pretend to be enlightened. When you're enlightened, your mind is straight, like an arrow. It's straight. You spit it back, right? That is tremendous, right? That you're able to spit it right back at them. No processing, no massaging, nothing whatsoever. You think I'm ugly? I am ugly. Okay? You think I'm nasty? I'm nasty. Okay? You see that? Straight. Right? So, number 2, you have this understanding, this profound understanding. Okay? And then, is that enough? No, it isn't. Because the question is, what for? Why do you have to be straightforward? Why do you have to be profound? What for? In order to help others. It's not about helping yourself. When you help yourself, you don't need to be compassionate. You're superior already. You don't need to be compassionate. But you need to be compassionate because you need to help others. You are straightforward, you are profound, you have profound mind, you have a straight mind in order to help others. You understand that? This is why we're doing this. We're going through all these personal sacrifices. Yes, folks, I realize, for example, in this small gathering of ours, many people are making sacrifices. I notice people that abandon their own families and come and help the temple so that we can put on this Dharma assembly and investigate the principles together. Whether it's equipment, whether it's the food, whether it's I don't know, or cars, I don't know. Okay, but that's what this is about. This is about doing something good for others. You have a straight mind so that you can help others. You have a profound mind so that you understand more. You have real, true, profound wisdom in order to have more tools to help others. You have a straight mind because that's a lot more helpful to others. To help them see what? The truth about themselves. You reflect at them because it's just like, I don't know, anyone uses a mirror at all every day? Why do you look at yourself in a mirror? Why do you use a mirror? Because you can see yourself. That's the nature of wisdom. Is to reflect your truth, her truth. That's hopeless. You understand? If you're worthy of it, you will get your own reflection. If you're not worthy, there's no reflection whatsoever. Because you're not worth reflecting. Do you understand? You have to be worthy before you get a reflection. Why do you criticize me? Because you're ugly. I'm criticizing your ugliness. With worldly people, they say, why do you yell at me? Why are you upset at me? I'm upset at your ugliness. I'm upset at your stupidity. But no, worldly people only see, oh, this guy has a temper. This guy is so violent. What did you do to create this violence? Huh? You don't blame on me. What did you do to be treated with such violence? Huh? What did you do to get punished? You see the straight now? See? How effective it is? It's immediate. Boom! You are. This is who you really are. No thinking. It's not because I don't like you. And it's true, I don't like you, but it has nothing to do with this reflection. You understand? It's not personal at all. The reflection is you. The Koreans, so as long as they're here, we have them here. The Koreans, they said, oh, you have to be polite. You have to be nice. We Americans don't have such hang-ups. We don't have to be nice. We don't have to be harmonious. Okay? We reflect. You know what we do? At least I reflect. Because when you're nice, you have to choose words. Yes? Should I use stronger words or nicer words? Okay? It's not straightforward. You understand? That's a problem. You're going to live together in harmony, but you still will not be enlightened. Okay? They don't like us, but we have a chance to be enlightened. The Koreans say, let me think about this one. Look at all of them. Look at their faces. It's too bad we cannot see Sang-wook's face. Sang-wook's face would be, can you imagine what Sang-wook would look like if I have her on the screen? She'd be, yeah, it makes sense to me. Oh, that's wonderful. His master is so funny. Okay? Now everyone's awake. Now we criticize the Koreans. Everyone's having a good time. Okay? So you see why it's so important? If you want part of the straight mind is to help people see who they are. That reflection right there, okay? Number two, profound mind is that you understand how far you can push. You see? How deep can you go? How much you can hurt before they break? Huh? When you bend them, how many layers will break if you go too much? Okay? That's when you stop. You understand that? Okay? Compassionate. It's because if you have really true wisdom, what you see is something that you don't normally see. Enlightened people look at you and see what? Money, success, bigger temples. No. When they look at, for example, Warren Buffett, my favorite guinea pig, what do they see? They see so much suffering. They see Elon. Do they see like a Superman? The richest man on earth right now, $214 billion and change. The richest, the second richest is Mr. Bezos, which is under 200 billion, the last I read. I do check every week or so. Okay? Do they see a richest person? No. They see a guy who's in pain. Every one of us look at all the successful people and aspire to be like them. These enlightened people look at them and say, "Oh, you're in such great pain, aren't you? Can we talk? Would you like to talk about it? Huh? Now you're divorced, you're separated from your wife, okay, with a son that we cannot pronounce your name. Elon, would you like to talk about your pain and suffering here that everyone is ignoring? And you're trying to think about by working your bottoms off so that you don't have to face your pain, your real pain." Compassionate is you see the suffering and you see, my God, it's layers upon layers of sufferings, and he does not even know it. I need to do something about this. He's suffering at work. He's suffering at home. He says, I can't handle my work life. How can I possibly take care of my son? Okay? Elon says, yes, okay, I buy him things, but still, I still fall short. I'm not spending quality time with him. I can't stay married to a woman. That's a lot of suffering. Don't you realize it? It's a failure. Anyone have been divorced? Oh God, it's a failure that follows you the rest of your life. That's suffering. Oh no, the world only see the most successful person, the richest person, someone we can try to pick his pocket. That's all everyone else cares about, is how much we can get out of him. That's suffering. Don't you think? If you no one cares. Not even my own wife. She's not willing to sacrifice for me. I'm prepared to give her everything, but no. She says, no, it's not enough. My $200 billion is not enough, still not enough for her. And why am I chasing after this? You see, you're compassionate because you can see clearly that these people are suffering. And if you have noble intentions, how could you possibly ignore that and worry about your own comfort, your own advantages, your own desires, when they're suffering a lot more than you? That's the nature of enlightenment. When if you truly see suffering, you will tell yourself, you really understand suffering, you tell yourself, I cannot possibly ignore this because this hurts so much. This person is hurting so much. And so is that person. So does her. Never mind. And so does he. So does the teddy bear. You understand? If you really understand that suffering, you say, oh my God, I got to do something about this. He's suffering a lot more than you can imagine. And that's the nature of enlightenment. Enlightenment is you able to see clearly the three aspects of life. You see them as who they really are. Okay? This is you. You can say, sing and dance all you want, but this is you. You can't BS me. You can't kiss up to me and expect me to buy your BS. Okay? This is you. That's a straight mind. I'm doing you a favor. Here, that's you. Look at yourself. Profound mind is that I understand a lot more than I can possibly explain to you. Don't be so full of yourself. You don't understand as much as you think. There's so much I would like to tell you, but you won't get it. And finally, you're suffering and yet you don't realize it. You are afraid to face your own suffering. And if I don't do anything about it, you only suffer more. Your sufferings only increase, it will not decrease. You complain to me that the leg pains are too much for you. That pain there is nothing compared to your sufferings. That pain there is the key to delivering you from a lot more sufferings. To liberate you from your multitude of sufferings. So that one leg pain there will deliver you from the many more pains in your life. Will free you. So you overcome that one pain right there, you will overcome so many more sufferings. One is many. One suffering there is actually will free you from many more sufferings. Sounds good? See? Why didn't the Mahayana people explain it to you that way? They say, one is the many returns to one. It's like a riddle. And that's why they're losing all the Chinese Buddhists are, I'm going to Catholicism because I don't understand Maya anymore and no one explains to me anymore. So this is a lot of hogwash. Questions, comments? Yes, number 5.
I was thinking about how you were saying there's this hierarchy in the Dharma realm. And it's like, worldly people are playing just such a small game. They're just playing a tiny baby game. And it's only when you start trying to get to enlightenment, you start playing in the big boy game. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. Which big boys are we talking about? Warren Buffett, Elon, or what?
No, I mean when you're playing in the game of trying to succeed in the world and make money and become successful. It's like you're in preschool, but when you start going after enlightenment and cultivating, you actually start playing the real game of the Dharma realm, which is just much bigger, and you're in that's like the real world, and the Dharma, the worldly world is like the fake world that we think's real, but it's really not.
So you think all of this is just a game?
Well, I think that it doesn't lead down the ultimate road, and there's something much bigger there that we can do right now, which is cultivation, that leads down a road that's much bigger than the road of success and fame and money and things like that.
So is it a game or not a game?
Which part?
Okay, we stop right there. Okay, next. 279. These two are non-obstructive in detail as discussed in the positions.
此二无碍，例如未说。
Okay, so 280. Non-obstructive, meaning certain accomplishment does not obstruct successive accomplishment, and vice versa, successive accomplishment does not obstruct certain accomplishment. And we'll explain later when we discuss the positions. So you so this is what happens. In general in Buddhism, okay, when the Buddha taught the Hinayana people, okay, the sound hearers, he taught the gradual teaching. So it's progressive, meaning you have to go one step at a time. Okay, it's more manageable, more palatable to these people. Okay, who depend on the thinking mind to reassure themselves. Okay, that they're on the right tracks. So they need these positive reinforcements. Yes, I'm here. Oh, wonderful. The Buddha is right. So I'm next level now. Oh, you're right. It's more advantageous for me to go to the next level. So these people are progressive. They are learning slowly. Okay. But they don't realize that. These progressive milestones are actually preparing them to attain sudden enlightenment. Okay, so that's why they fall short. The Buddha never got a chance to tell them. Okay, that's in the first era of Buddha's teaching is called Agama period. Okay. And the next period is for 8 years of Vaipulya. He begins to say, by the way, all these successive things here actually will lead to something called big enlightenment. Okay? So for 8 years, he tried to insinuate to them, yes, there is more than just these successive things. There's something called sudden enlightenment, which I will explain to you for 22 years during the Prajna period. He spent 22 years explaining the Prajna Dharma, which is the Dharma of sudden enlightenment. Okay? So, you see, there is right there is the progression of the teaching. You have progressive teaching leading to preparing you for sudden teaching. Okay? So that's why the successive accomplishment will not obstruct you from attaining the sudden enlightenment. Is that clear? And that's unfortunately, the Hinayana people did not stick around long enough because they're afraid to fail. They cannot face their own failures. It hurts too much to look at your own failures, especially when you failure. That hurts. And they're afraid of that. In the psyche, they can't handle that. Okay? If they did not quit, if they hang around, they hang in there, in spite of their repeated failures, they will eventually experience something called sudden enlightenment. So that's what the Buddha tried to tell them during the Vaipulya teaching period. He says, oh, there's a lot more wonderful things awaiting for you. That's why gradual teaching does not obstruct sudden teaching. Actually, gradual teaching prepares for sudden teaching. There's no sudden teaching without gradual teaching. Is that clear? It's not possible for you to have sudden enlightenment without being gradually enlightened first. And once you reach sudden enlightenment, okay, what do? You start over again. Sudden enlightenment, you leap. You leap so high that you go to a plane where you say, where am I? How come I don't feel anything? Oh my God, Master says, but I don't feel anything. I don't get it. Did he con me? Or am I just the case I'm just stupid? So what happened is that because you leap, you in new territories. You don't know where you are. You don't know what to do. So what do? You start exploring. You say, let's try this, let's try that. That's what is called gradual enlightenment again. Because you now have to take baby steps to see where you are, to test the grounds, to explore your new environment. You cannot leap anymore because you have all this, you need to build momentum again. So that's why you can write a slide here, create a new slide here. It says, sudden accomplishment prepares for, gradual accomplishment, successive accomplishment prepares for successive accomplishment prepares for sudden accomplishment. And sudden accomplishment suddenly certain accomplishment becomes tiny. Accomplishment begets gradual, successive accomplishment. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so that's why they are non-mutually obstructive. One includes the other in an infinite loop. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Number one.
Thank you, Master. When you do reach a new accomplishment, is it the same methods that allow for successful accomplishment, or must there be a new strategy applied?
It's not. It depends. It's not for sure. Okay, it's not. It's nothing is rigid at all. Okay, it's a natural evolution, if you will. Okay, we differentiate this for you for your own understanding, but actually it's a natural continuation. It's just all the same thing. It's all part of the whole process. We divided, this phase is called successive, this phase is called gradual. Actually, it's the same thing called enlightenment as a big picture. And that's why one is one and the same, it's not different. It's all part of this thing called the process of getting enlightened. All right, any other questions? 281. 8. In order to set forth true Dharma, if one wishes to accomplish the positions of conduct, one must understand the principles of the Dharma.
(8) 是真法者，欲成行位，须解法理。
282. Reason number 8 for speaking the Flower Adornment Sutra is in order to set forth the true Dharma. This true Dharma here, okay, is something that is valid throughout the Dharma realm, throughout the entire universe, not just for Americans, not just for Chinese, not just for humans, or not just for our Milky Way, our galaxy. It's for the entire universe. Layer upon layer upon layer, infinitely. This is kind of truth we're talking about. The truth, for example, that you learn, as I mentioned earlier, the truth that you learn that in the Catholic teaching is one layer, cannot go deeper. Okay, this Mahayana truth, as spelled out in this Flower Adornment Sutra, is this range of validity. This truth here holds true in the entire universe. Wherever you go, this is still true. Okay? So this Flower Adornment Sutra here reveals the truth in this gigantic range domain. Okay? That gives you the kind of insight you're going to have, whether it's worldly or whether it's transcendental. It's still true. Whether it's here in our world, or whether it's true in the Western Bliss Pure Land as well. It's no difference. So what you're learning here from this Flower Adornment Sutra, okay, will be the same thing that Amitabha Buddha will be teaching you when you go there. So remember, I talked about the seeds? Okay? As you listen to all these principles, those seeds are being planted in your consciousness, and you carry them to the Western bliss Pure Land, where Amitabha Buddha said, you have those seeds already. Let me show you how to make them sprout. Okay? So you set forth the true Dharma, so that if one wishes to achieve the positions of conduct, one must understand the principles of the Dharma. Okay? Why do you think we sit for you in a chant class? We sit with you for an hour, and I speak Dharma for you for an hour. It's because, to me personally, it's equally important. The sitting is the practice, is the conduct, okay? You need to do something, okay? And once you did something, then we must teach you about the principles that you need to understand. They're both equally important. You sit alone like the old monk wants to go and sit in a hut, okay, by himself for the rest of his life, okay? Who's going to teach him the principles? Not just any principles. What principle are we talking about? Oh monk, what principle need to be taught?
Với Đức Phật, con không biết.
See, I rest my case.
Sorry, Master, I don't know.
Precisely.
Tại vì thầy tìm một chỗ cho Phật tử nhập thất thì để tụng hoặc là chú đại bi một cái pháp môn nào đó thì con chỉ đáp ứng cái đó thôi. Mà cái đó là chỉ phụng thôi chứ con cũng không cần. Chưa cần.
You see, the Hinayana people, this is, I meditate, okay? And after Asamkaya Kalpas, I will eventually understand. And that's too slow. Yes, you sit by yourself, eventually you understand, but that just takes a long time. Why do you think we bother explaining to you the Flower and Adornment Sutra? To help you understand faster. In particular, when we teach you Chan, okay, it's not just the entire Flower and Adornment Sutra, is it? It's about the principles you need to understand in order for you to unstuck yourself. It takes one moment that moment is called the suddenly, what's the name of that song again? Suddenly. You guys are not into music at all. You are the most boring people on the whole earth. What do you do with your lives? Seriously, play with children? Huh? That's it? Childish things? What about music? Huh? What about movies? Yes, sir.
Was that the Beatles?
This guy's a music major, but he has no notion of what I'm talking about. Suddenly. Oh, good Lord. Shazam. Try Shazam. Okay? The problem is that, yes, he sit for a long, long time, like Shakyamuni Buddha. When he sat there, he practiced some patience. He just sat there and he had to sit longer and longer and longer to understand his lack of patience. Okay? Whereas, if you have a good no advisor who reflects at you right away, this is where you're impatient. This is where you're a wimp. This is where you yuck. Huh? You don't need Asamkhya Kalpas to do that. That's called Sun teaching. Yes, sir, number one.
Thank you, Master. This next question is going to come from a place of deep stupidity. But I've been thinking about honoring good knowing advisors and also honoring the Buddha when doing or seeking refuge in both when doing meditating. And I don't know where to land between somebody groveling, like begging, please, please, please help me, versus somebody having like a nobility within themselves to understand that the sudden teaching is within them and like seeking just advice. I know that both are wrong, but I don't know where the middle is.
Who asked you to honor them? You understand? You see the problem? Okay? That is Shakma Buddha himself. He went through these phases of cultivation, he says, in order for him to become enlightened. He says, I went through all this hardship. I did it all wrong. Okay? And that's why he says, there's something called certain teaching you better know about. Okay? No one asks you to honor them. They can't care less you honor them or not. Trust me. Okay? You're doing something is totally unnecessary. You spit at them. It's still there. Someone stole the tin staff of my statue up there in front of the Wei Mountain Temple. What an embarrassment. Okay? I had to be a thief in my prior life. That's why it's embarrassing. If I didn't steal from people, they wouldn't be stealing from me. Okay? That's called spade a spade. I'm a thief. That's why I got stolen. Okay? How do I get to be stolen anyway? Who asked you to honor those Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? Who cares? Just mind your business. Get enlightened. That's the main thing. 8. You come up with all these schemes. Oh, I'm such a cool dude. I understand it's important to honor them. What the hey? Stop it. Stop thinking. He said, I need to honor. Don't you recognize it's another thought? Cut it out. Yes, 8.
From Jane, I know that song. Suddenly I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me.
Yeah!
Oh, yesterday came suddenly. And then
Suddenly.
Derek is asking, is it Billy Ocean?
Could be Billy Ocean too. What's a Billy Ocean song again? You see, we're all speaking Dharma. It's not just me, folks. This is why we have such a fancy internet and thing that we can't use. Huh? Okay? Because we all are speaking Dharma from our vantage points. So what's the Beatles certainly thing again? Yesterday? Okay. What about Billy Ocean? I think I was thinking more of Billy Ocean than Beatles. Right now I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why I forgot the tune. I only need suddenly. That's all that still remains in my confused mind. Yeah. Okay? But, folks, this is an incredible tip here that he's telling you. He's telling you in order for you to get there, to improve, okay? Accomplished position and conduct, meaning that you need to get next level, get there, okay? Get to your goal. You must understand the principles. You don't understand principle, you're like this. That's why you have to grind. You have to grind it out because you don't know what to understand. You don't know where to look. But you listen to the Dharma, okay? Then you keep on digging in one thing only, right there. That's why you should be digging, not honor me, honor them, honor these people. It's not necessary. You understand? It's completely unproductive. Okay? So the great teacher says, you must learn the principles. Before you understand, you must learn about the principles. Okay? Understanding is the next step. He's listening to the principles. That has to happen first. Don't worry about understanding. Is that clear? But the very moment you make the leap, you will understand that principle. See, the Koreans, they're taught, you meditate, you do the Hua Tao, or the Brahmins, the Indians, Hindus, they do, What's the principles? We spell it out for you. For that position, you need to understand this principle. Questions, comments? And that's why, I really kick myself. I wish I had come sooner to this thing here and ask so many questions of my master. Unlike you sit there, I understand. Okay? You see, I have so many questions I read about this Flower Adornment Sutra. I wish he'd be around here. Okay, I could ask. Master, why do we must enlightened mind be number 1, straightforward, number 2, profound, number 3, compassionate? What kind of nonsense is that? Can't I be myself? Can't I just be enlightened? No, I asked myself this for 25 years. I read about this 23 years ago, 24 years ago. I asked myself, why? Why? Why must it be profound? And today, I just answered myself. You see? And had he been around, I would ask him 25 years ago, 23 years ago, I said, Master, why straightforward? Why can't we be crooked? What about expedient? What about music? Huh? So I have to take 23 years of my life to try to figure it out. When he could have said, he could have given me the answer just like that. So I had to grind it out myself. Years, and you get my understanding in less than 1 hour. That is suffering. Can you see that? See, you're not enlightened, clearly. Okay. Time is up. Next time we pick it up from 283. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enlighten soon. Now you know what what enlightened mind is like. Yeah, huh? Good luck to all of you, huh?